You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
So let's get started. Like I said, today we're just talking union, folks. We're not talking about the news. We're not talking about politics. We're not talking about Trump or Obama or Clinton. We're just talking about unions, talking about brothers and sisters fighting for fair wages, better working conditions, benefits. So if you've got any questions about unions, give us a call. The number is 1-866-494-9866. Again, that's 1-866-494-WVNN. And while we're waiting for folks to call in, we did solicit questions on social media during the week, and so we're going to start tackling those while we wait to get some callers. The first one that we got was from Maxim Baru. He is actually he's the chair. He's the international chair of the organizing department for the IWW, and he lives in Canada. So this is an interesting question from him. He said, given that in the U.S. people are legally protected for concerted activity, what advantage, if any, do people gain by carrying on concerted activity through membership in a union? And so what he's referring to there, people are legally protected for concerted activity. He's referring to the protections that workers have under Section 7 of the National Labor Relations Act, which Section 7 protects concerted collective activity, right? So if you theoretically, on paper, if David and I worked in the same workplace and like we had a complaint, we could not be fired for writing a petition and both signing it. That's collective activity. We're both doing it. We're making our voice heard, and so the law protects us in that. Now the boss can find some other way to fire us, but he can't say that it's because of that. And so he's saying here, look, people in the U.S., we've already got these rights that are protected. So what is the advantage of being a member in a union? What is the advantage of formalizing this process, forming a union, paying dues, stuff like that? What is the advantage? I think, David, I'm sure you've got a really good answer to that.
Well, I mean, there's so many advantages, but the first one that comes to mind is solidarity. We're protected through the NLRA, like you said, but at the end of the day, when you form a union, and especially like the Wobblies or like your AFGE or like the Machinist Union with me, you get the backing of not just me and you signing a petition and bringing it to the boss. You get the backing of, if that petition doesn't work, then you've got somebody else to lean on. Like my fellow brothers down at 2003, when we were on strike 2 years ago, they come out in droves to walk the picket line with us. So, that solidarity there that you build among the working class individuals is humongous. So, yeah, that's one of the things. You also get the financial support because the union puts in place the organization puts in place a way for all the workers to pool their money collectively and not only support themselves, but do good things in the community as well. I mean, look at what we were doing, just a couple of weeks ago with the money from the Labor Council.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a big thing, is that workers are through union dues, we're able to pool our money collectively, just chip in a little bit every month, and we're able to get enough money to higher, let's say that you and I, David, were in the same workplace and we sign a petition and we get fired, and you and I know this is obviously because because of the petition, obviously, but he says it's because we were late one day or something, or we were, we spilled a drink in the, whatever kind of nonsense BS reason that they give us, but we know that it's because we were engaging in protected collective activity. But if it's just you and me, or even if it's just 4 or 5 or 6 or 20 workers, we don't have a union backing us. We don't have any formal structure in place. It's like, well, you're just kind of SOL, you know, like you don't have this institutional knowledge that a union brings. When you enter a union, you not only you formalize this process, but you get decades and decades. And I mean, when you start talking about man hours and man years, you're talking about centuries of experience and knowledge and history that you get to bring to the table as a worker, and that is where workers' power comes from. You know, like these billionaires, like Elon Musk or like Jeff Bezos, they've got hundreds of billions of dollars just on their own, and so they're like a force to be reckoned with as an individual. You and I are not forces to be reckoned with as an individual. Right. Workers are forces to be reckoned with collectively. Yeah. And so that's another thing is just it formalizes the process. You know, like if you don't have a formal structure, if you don't have a formal organization, it is just like you just can't keep up. Like, oh, you know, every time something happens, I'm gonna reach out to everybody again without, you know, like when you're part of a union, you have elected officers, you have membership, you have meetings, and you meet regularly to talk. And the meetings are a good way to like talk to your fellow workers and see like, hey, you know, how has your work life been? How have things been over in your department? I don't ever go to the production department, or I don't ever go to the accounting. What in the world's happening in accounting? I don't know. Your union brings everybody together, and so that's another thing. You get it brings people together formally. You get all sorts of experience. You get the collective weight of all of the dues money that everybody pulls together for legal services and stuff like that, and you get people that are actually willing to fight for you if your rights are violated.
Yeah, and one of the key thing whenever you're forming a union, the word is all the same word that we always use is organize. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's something to keep in mind. As far as the union goes, because the company's very organized, and if you look at it, as the company v. the workers, the company has the structure in place as far as the plant managers, the CEOs, and that pyramid of the first line managers and then down to the workers. And the reason why they're so effective is because they're highly organized.
Right.
Because this person says this person does this, and on down, and it flows down. And the point of forming that union is to get the workers organized. But we work in the exact opposite of the way the company works. Instead of having that pyramid where the hierarchy tells you what to do, you still have that pyramid, but it works in reverse.
Works from the bottom up.
Exactly.
People, it's democratic.
Exactly.
It's elected.
So all the people say, this is what we want you to do,
right.
And then it goes to the next level, and that's what they are bound and required to do that. But the whole point is reining that back in. It goes to organization. If it's just two of us, the company's highly organized. They can break the two of us.
Yep.
But if you've got the whole plant, they can't break the whole plant, and you're organized. Then you get the backing of everybody else in the plant as well.
Right. Yeah. It just makes it's just intuitive. Yeah. Like if you think about all the good that a properly motivated church can do in your community.
Yeah.
Think about that. Now think about you've got probably, if you're like most of us, you've got probably as many people living beside you within like just a mile radius, half a mile radius. You know, a lot of us live pretty close together. You've got all these folks here. And so like you could put the question, well, why doesn't this row of folks, why doesn't this community just do something together? And it's because they're not organized.
Yeah.
Like you don't know your neighbor like 3 doors down. You don't know your neighbor 4 doors down. You don't know this whole half-mile radius. And it's the same way. Once you get organized into like a church or something, you can start talking about like, okay, we're together and we're helping each other, and now we're going to help the community too. And so that's organizing being organized, having an organization, a formal organization is incredibly important in doing anything meaningful, really.
It puts everything in perspective, but it puts everything. It allows you to plan things much better than what you would normally do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're going to answer some more questions, folks. Give us a call, 1-866-494-9866. This is the Valley Labor Report. We will be right back. Good morning, Tennessee Valley. This is the Valley Labor Report. My name is Jacob Morrison, here with my co-host, David Story. We're answering your questions today, and David just wanted to add a bit more to the last question, which was what are some of the benefits that people get through membership in a union? So, David?
Well, yeah, I would. We was just talking about it in the break there that a lot of times we get, especially from a lot of the anti-union folks out there, you get the black eye that they're just greedy union members. They're just looking out for themselves. They want, they're paid better than everybody else, which we are, better benefits than everybody else, which we do. But the fact is, we do a lot of stuff in the community as well. The Labor for Black Lives is one obvious one that the Labor Council put together, but our local, and I'm sure your local as well, does a lot in the community. We've done blood drive for Life South a few weeks ago. We've done Habitat for Humanity going out in the community and helping build the houses. But there's so many other things that labor unions do as a nonprofit organization to benefit those that may be less fortunate than us.
Right. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We appreciate your time today. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week, get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout the week. And if you appreciate our work and want to help keep us on the air, consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.